Γεια σας, I'm Sevo and this is Meraki TV. Looking to get your Greek on? Then you've come to the right place. Tonight we meet two girls heading towards becoming publishing moguls, Marina and Rachel from Blessed magazine. Find out some really interesting Hiotis facts, learn how to be a real Greek and cook lamb on the Stavroula, travel back to ancient Greece and consult the oracle at Delphi, and of course get all the glitz and goss with Stavroula. But to kick it all off tonight, Hohlastou talks to Greek-Australian singer Dioni. Recently returned from a 10-year stint in Greece, she was headlining her show, A Tribute to the Greek Divas. To tell us more, here's Hohlastou with Dioni.
Well, we're here today with our very own Greek-Australian, I think a star, Dioni.
Thank you.
How are you inspired?
Well, first of all, thank you for calling me a star. Not yet, but hopefully one day. I was asked by the Greek Festival of Sydney to do a show this year, and I decided on this particular subject, Tribute to the Greek Divas, because I hadn't done it before, and because there are a lot of female singers that I don't feel are represented enough. Some are underrated, some are overrated, so I didn't put any of the overrated singers in, as you can imagine. And just singers that personally I love that I don't sing enough of. So I chose over 14, 15 singers I'll be singing tonight, and covering 9 decades. So we start from the 20s through to the present.
So where did it originally start? You have history of music in your family?
Yes, well, my mother was a concert pianist. My grandmother was a coloratura soprano. So I think that it was inevitable that I was going to gravitate towards the stage.
You've also had another performance which was amazing, an ode to a crisis.
Yes, my favourite. It's very close to my
Obviously
heart.
having to do with the Greek crisis?
Absolutely.
Please tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so this show was inspired, it was about the crisis because I lived it. I was there in 2013. And I chose to do this show because I wanted to incorporate all elements of crises. So not just the GFC and the Greek crisis, well, the European crisis anyway, but all elements of crisis. So I have personal crises, I have the moral crisis, the existential crisis. Of course, the focus is on Greece, but it does extend into everything that I mentioned, even the environmental crisis that, of course, is climate change, which is a hot subject.
And you've brought out a song relating to that?
I did. It's coming. Well, the EP has been released. The video clip, hopefully in the next week. It's called Flirting with Reality. And it's actually part of the show I included in. It was the only original song in the Crisis show because everything else was a cover. And yes, the song was written again in Greece, recorded in Greece about the crisis.
Στην περίπτωση μας όμως δεν υπάρχει άλλος δρόμος, δεν υπάρχει ευτυχία που να κόβεται στα τελεία. Στην περίπτωση μας όμως δεν υπάρχει άλλος δρόμος.
So now what does the future hold for you?
Well, hopefully touring internationally. My label's based in Canada, so we're hoping to tour. The EP is out. There are 2 more singles to go. 2 more singles to go and a surprise remix. Hopefully touring, world domination, that's what we all want.
You're not a true Greek if you don't know how to cook lamb. And you're not a true Greek mugger if you don't know how to put it on a spit. Here to save us all from that scary prospect is Spiro, showing us how to do a lamb kondosouvli.
Yaya's secret recipe is proudly brought to you by M&J Chickens, supplying high-quality poultry-based fresh products value-added, flavoured and fully cooked meals and meal components to the hospitality, food service and retail in Australia. For superior quality and service, choose M&J Chickens. We're revolutionising the way you think about chicken.
Hi, I'm Spiro, and today I'm going to show you guys how to do a basic kodosouvli in Greek, short spit in English. And as everyone that knows me knows, I'm the world's best barbecuer. First of all, we got to prepare the karvuna. Very simple. Obviously get them all lit nice and even throughout the whole spit. So the meat, go to your local butcher and or ask them to cut up. The best part for the kodosouvli is the top half, the forequarter, and you get them to cut it up in chunks of about 3 inches by 3 inch cubes. So the trick is to pass them on the skewer nice and tightly, and the actual fat on the meat is what really holds it in place. So you pack it nice and tight, so as it turns, it's all compressed and all the meat is turning together and there's no slipping. That's about right. You don't want to go all the way to the ends. As you can see, it's all packed nice and tightly. So as you can see, I haven't marinated the meat. Like I said, just a basic. All we're going to do is add salt, and you'd be amazed at the incredible flavour of the meat with no marinade, just some salt and the right amount of cooking. And we're off. When it's on and turning, we add the salt. I like to put a lot of salt. It's got to be salty to get that flavour. Add as much salt as you want, but I recommend and suggest, if you want to do it right and get that punch, that great flavour, you got to pack on the salt. As it cooks, the salt will, work its way through the meat, and it'll taste, like we say, lukumi. It will cook for around about 2 hours depending on the heat, but you want to have it on the fire for a longer period, just to keep it a slower cook for a longer period, to keep it nice and tender. And then what we do towards the end is we load up the heat, drop it down just to crystallize the outside and just to get that bit of a crunchy feel too.
Did you know that Manolis Hiotis was one of the most influential and pioneering bouzouki players of all time? Hiotis introduced the fourth set of strings, as well as the guitar-style tuning, and he changed the way the modern bouzouki was played.
Sweet Fantasy Cakes. No matter what your special occasion or personal craving, come and visit the Small Business Champions, sweetfantasycakes.com.au. Wish you were in Greece, Melbourne, New York or any other exotic destination? Call Peter at Megatravel 9824 2427. Megatravel. With proven results from thousands of installations in the residential and commercial application, Solar Energy Enterprises can design the perfect solar system for your needs.
While travelling through Greece, it's impossible to not be overwhelmed by the amount of historic ruins. One such that must be included on any tour is Delphi. And coming up now, in 3 minutes or less, is the story of exactly why.
Delphi is located on Mount Parnassus, near the Gulf of Corinth. It was believed to be the centre of the earth, or how it was called in ancient times, the navel, or omphalos. The myth tells us that Zeus released 2 eagles, one to the east and another to the west. The point where they met was Delphi. Delphi was considered a sacred site of Apollo's, who won the right to have his sanctuary there after defeating the Python dragon of G. An extensive and extremely rich temple was erected at Delphi, and it housed the Pythia, priestess, and her oracles who would answer people's questions. It was held in great esteem, not only in the Greek world, but far beyond. There would be a long line of pilgrims from far and wide, but the wait was a long one, since the Pythia could only be consulted on particular days over 9 months of the year. The process was also a long one and would usually take a whole day, including the Pythia purifying herself in the Castalian spring nearby, burning laurel leaves, drinking holy water, sacrificing an animal, usually a goat, and then an offering by the pilgrim of a pelanos, a kind of pitha, before entering the inner temple. This inner temple was located on top of a chasm where light hydrocarbon gases would come up through the earth. The Pythia would sit on a tripod and inhale the gases. After falling into a drug-induced trance, she would mutter incomprehensible words that the Pythia's oracles would decipher and interpret. Even then, though, the oracles were always open to interpretation and often had double meanings. For example, Croesus, the king of Lydia, asked the oracle's advice regarding an impending war with the Persians. The oracle prophesied that if Croesus went to war, then a great empire would surely fall. Croesus assumed it was the Persian Empire and proceeded to war. Alas, it was his empire that fell. Delphi slowly fell to ruin and was repeatedly attacked and ransacked through history for its great treasures, but survives today thanks to some French archaeologists in the 1880s who dug it back out of the earth. If you visit, you may not find a drug-high Pythia to spout you incomprehensible words, but you may just hear the whispers of Apollo on the winds through the ruins.
Christenings are a big thing for Greeks, quite often more stressful than the big fat Greek wedding. 2 Greek girls out to make the process easier and the christenings more beautiful with the absolutely stunning Blessed magazine and christening directory website are Rachel and Marina.
Hi guys, I'm here with Marina and Rachel from Blessed magazine. Welcome girls.
Hi.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us on Meraki TV. We absolutely love your directory and the website and the magazine.
Thank you. Thanks.
Marina, tell us how it started, because I know you started first with a directory.
Yeah, I used to have a christening shop a few years ago. And then once I closed the doors and I had my daughter, Anaya, I started an online magazine because I found it really hard to organise a christening and run a business full time.
So you literally were planning your daughter's christening and went, there's nothing out there.
Exactly.
I'm going to create it.
Exactly.
True Greek true Greek entrepreneurial spirit. I love it. And how did you then hook up with Rachel?
Well, it was me who actually contacted Marina in the first place by ultimately saying that her logo could do with some improvements.
You contacted her to criticise her on her product and ended up working on it. How did you get from your product sucks to I love this, I want to be part of the team?
I think Rachel loved the idea of the directory, so she came on board, and then we talked a lot via Facebook in regards to design, in regards to her images that she sent in. And then when we started working on the presentation together, I went, you know what, we actually work really well. I should probably not take it as an insult. And then
Marina knows a good design when she sees one.
What are your readers, your fans? Are they mostly Greeks looking for christenings? Is it kind of a spread of nationalities?
Yeah, I'd say we've got a good spread. Obviously, the European market, you know, they really celebrate christenings.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big thing for them. You know, it's whether it's the first child or the third child.
I think it tends to get bigger, actually.
Yeah,
I think you just try and outdo your last one. Obviously, you know, I was part of the Greek culture and community for many years. And, you know, my kids are half Greek, and the christenings, you know, are mini weddings in my eyes.
And it's the first real celebration. Once your baby is born, if you're European, it's the first celebration you do, you know, other than the first birthday. And a lot of people are now doing them together because the first birthday is so big.
Yeah, we've actually covered a few in the magazine, so hybrid christenings and first birthdays. In issue 1, actually, you should take a look.
Nice plug there. Tell us future plans, world domination.
We'd like to do an expo. We've certainly been talking about it with a couple of the businesses of late. But because we're quite niche, the christening industry is very niche. I think we're going to have an alignment. So we're looking at having an alignment with the wedding expos, and that's something that we're exploring. So watch this space.
Fantastic, girls. Congratulations. Two young women doing amazing things. Very proud of you. Blessedmagazine.com.au.
Did you know that US President Lyndon Johnson invited Hiotis and his partner Medi Linda to the White House to play on his birthday? President Johnson even offered them a green card for immigrants so they could stay in America as long as they wanted.
Sweet Fantasy Cakes. No matter what your special occasion or personal craving, come and visit the Small Business Champions. sweetfantasycakes.com.au. Wish you were in Greece, Melbourne, New York or any other exotic destination? Call Peter at Megatravel 9824 2427. Megatravel. With proven results from thousands of installations in the residential and commercial application, Solar Energy Enterprises can design the perfect solar system for your needs.
Did you know when the late Jimi Hendrix was asked in an interview who was the world's best guitarist, he replied, "You believe I am the best because you have not listened to the Greek Manolis Hiotis plays bouzouki. When you listen to Hiotis play, then you will know who the best is."
Fabulous, intelligent, stunning, and in the know. It's time for Stavroula and the Glitz and Goss.
Glitz and Goss is proudly brought to you by iSecure. To keep your family safe, let us keep an eye on your place. isecureu.com.au.
Hi, this is Stavroula, Glitz and Goss. Vasiliki Karayorwu, with stage name Vasi, was in her hometown, tropical Darwin, recently for a brief visit. The Queen of Dance Music, who now lives in LA, has reached some of the highest achievements in the business and has managed to surpass 350 million views on YouTube. Congrats to Theophilos Xenidis, also known as Phil X, for getting lead guitar on the new tracks on upcoming Bon Jovi album to be released next year. Phil X also invented the flip stick, an innovative replacement for the whammy bar on guitars. On a personal level, I got the tick of approval from Theophilos for using my name Stavroula and not changing it to Stephanie like his cousin did. What a kick-ass dude. Stamatis Vonidis is third-time groom. Stamatis married his sweetheart Katerina in a chapel in Kithnos where he was born. The ceremony was very small, with only one guest, their best man. Greek islands clamped down on noise and loud beach parties. These profit-making events are now banned from Greece's beaches and public places. From now on, music on the beach cannot exceed 50 decibels and lights must stay low level. Good luck monitoring all the coasts. The Traveller's Choice Awards 2015 voted Santorini the most beautiful island in Europe, but there's a darker underbelly to the Greek paradise. Believe it or not, Greece was once believed to be the most vampire-infested of all the world, specifically the island Santorini, which was once called the island of vampires or Vrikolakas. You can book one of the many Santorini boat trips or tours with an emphasis on these myths and legends, or watch the 1945 horror film Isle of the Dead, inspired by the legend of the Vrikolakas. You'll see there's far more to this island than sun, sea and sand. Theos Skalkos, publisher of the Greek Herald, is in court again. Never far from controversy, Skalkos has had various brushes with the law, including threatening a plumber with a loaded shotgun, defamation charges, and now indecent assault with a 19-year-old in Sydney. More mishaps for the colourful 83-year-old businessman. Odyssey in Leichhardt is opening its doors this Friday, August 15. Live music and DJ every Friday and Saturday nights. Doors open 8 p.m, entry at set menu $60. Maestro Nathan Pilarinos heads the Odyssey Band along with special guest local and international singers. Finally, the bouzouki that Sydney has been missing. That's all from me tonight. Glitz and Goss with Stavroula. Catch you next week on Meraki TV.
Glitz and Goss is proudly brought to you by iSecure. To keep your family safe, let us keep an eye on your place. isecureu.com.au.
Bethia, thanks again for another great night. I hope you all had as much fun as me. A big thank you to our sponsors. This show is only possible because of you. M&J Chickens, iSecure, Mega Travel, Sweet Fantasy Cakes and Solar Energy Enterprises. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and catch up on episodes on the website www.meraki.tv. Tonight I'm leaving you with a brand new song from Dioni's up and coming EP. It's called That Summer. Until next week, Bethia, Filakia from me, Anna Sevo.
Happy days stroll by, precious time, when the morning sun was all mine. I'm craving for those days, oh, those smiles that my compass set to kiss the skies. Walk through the rain and we'll meet at our old place that's breaking me, taking me down. Here's to that summer, here's to that summer when all of our days were long. Here's to that summer, here's to that summer.